Hi. We're back for a cough and a completely unnecessary podcast. Super show.
Super duper.
For Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, the first of the spring. That's Ian Ferguson with a nice beard that's oiled. Pat Contry with hair that was cut but looks like it wasn't. On the show today...
I do need a haircut.
You do?
I'm getting a little shaggy on the edges.
A little bit. A little trim.
A little roughly.
Today we'll talk about...
Stuff.
Game Informer's back. Switch 2. Almost had pre-orders live, and then I heard the UK's live, but I don't think anywhere else is. And a cat spanking game at GDC. Japanese dev says normal people don't care about Assassin's Creed controversy. I just love that title to that. And other stuff. And a return of a fan favorite. No, not Tales from the Game Store, unfortunately, which people over the past weekend wanted, but a return of Scumbag Seller of the Week.
That's right.
2 years since we've done that at least.
It's been a long time.
Ian had fun at WonderCon. We spoke about that earlier on the exclusive.
Indeed.
Where is that, Ian?
Patreon.com/CU podcast.
You almost didn't know. You got it. I'm going to readjust my camera real quick. What else is going on, Ian?
Oh, I mean, for me, not a whole lot. I've been playing Monster Hunter and Othello. That's pretty much just been my life for the past few weeks. Trying to get some spring cleaning done around the house, around the apartment. And, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of been it. Been taking it easy.
Well,
we're in a situation where I don't feel like spending gobs of money is, like, prudent. So.
Oh, yeah. We don't know where we're tumbling into, but, recession's on the table. We'll just say that. A recession is not, there's a greater than 25% chance of that, Financial Pat says.
Yeah. So I've just been grinding through video games I've already purchased and not spending money.
Could hire you to price out the rest of my stuff. I still can't find. I now am missing not just CD32 games. I'm missing about 30 Game Gear games, and that's where I had a bunch packed in with like the soft case, and I had I had them tucked in there a bunch. Then I said to myself, I remember having boxed Game Gear games, and they're not here. And look at my list. There's like 10 to 14 missing boxed Game Boy games, complete in box and other ones. And I'm like, I have no idea where.
That's weird because I remember seeing them the one time I looked at and you had them all in the box.
Like back at the condo, you mean? You remember seeing them? Not here.
No, back at the condo. They were all in a box.
One box.
Yep,
all the purple box.
One box with Game Boy games and boxes. I remember.
The Game Gear, yeah.
Game Gear. I was thinking of Game Boy.
Oh, no, I didn't lose the Game Boy games. Those are the first things I priced.
Got it.
Game Gear.
Game Gear.
I'm missing about 30 Game Gear games. I wasn't missing any Game Boy. So that's the other thing I've been missing. I was missing one other little thing, but these are the two big things I'm missing. I was missing a few Atari games. Like tele games and ones in the box, like 6 or 7. But I might have sold those at an event. Anyway, I was at Midwest Gaming Classic this past weekend. I had a great time. The console area is great. I met up with Derek Alexander for a bit. He's doing the 16-player Faceball 2000. And that was cool.
I like that guy.
Derek's salt of the earth. I've known him since the early Retro days.
I love seeing him and Grace at conventions.
The pinball area is amazing at Midwest.
Yeah, the year I went, and this was like 2014 or 2015.
Oh, is that far back?
It was still amazing.
Yeah.
Like that was a sight to behold.
And then I wish I had more time to play it. I wish I had time to check out. I want to check out the James Bond new one, the Connery Bond one. I didn't have a chance. Everyone was playing Dungeons and Dragons. That looked really fun.
Oh, the Bond one's a few years old at this point, but it's good.
Sure, newer.
Yeah.
And then Dungeons and Dragons one. Everyone was playing that.
That looks great.
And then they had a bunch of other ones. I didn't send you a bunch of pictures like I did the last time of ones, since you probably have seen them all. But they did have the Super Spa one. Remember the one we played at the
Future Spa? I love Future Spa.
The one we played at the contest the one time.
Yep.
Love over that there.
Game.
I played a Konami third-person run and gun shooter that was literally like, this is what they're going to slap the G.I. Joe IP onto for that game. But there was one that came up for it. I wish I should remember the name.
An arcade game?
Yes. That was a third-person scaling effect run and gun third-person, just like the G.I. Joe one, which I would say is great, which never was put out on her. So, like, it was basically the same engine.
Huh.
And you shoot a rocket up the same way. You throw the grenades. You shoot the guy, with the, like, basically scaling effect when they come closer. Never saw that game before in my life.
Oh, that's
And I was
cool.
like, okay, I got to look into that.
You don't remember the name?
No, I should have. I don't think I wrote it down. I played it. I was tired on Friday night, so I
Got to
went
carry a
through.
pen with you, man.
Okay, all right. I do have show and tell for other things that I'll get into here. The highlight for me, and I'm going to text you, and I'll show them here for you people out there because I can't text you all out there. I don't have enough space. The highlight for me was the World of Nintendo Museum, run by Andy Cunningham, who also did the World of Nintendo book.
Okay.
Which I didn't realize it was the same person. Like in my head, I was like, because the book was on the counter, and I'm like, oh, the book's there, and he's like, hey, Pat, and I'm like, oh, this is great. A lot of the stuff must be in the book. Oh yeah, I did that book. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I didn't put two and two together. Let me message you. No, not my mirror selfie in the hotel, or that one I shouldn't send. But let me message you. This is 4 pictures. So basically, this was a setup of how it would have looked at the pinnacle of the trifecta in '93: NES, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy.
Yeah.
So basically, the last year that they actually marketed, the NES, Nintendo, and then Game Boy was at the height of its powers, and Super Nintendo was as well a couple years in. Okay, sending it now. They had all the display stuff. They had the neon set up. They had the full the big cabinets where department stores would have the stuff that are gray with the red stripes on them. They had the Super Nintendo kiosk there. They had the triple neon sign. They had the globe, the World Nintendo globe. But this one had it spinning with like letters like lit up. It was just a solid piece. They had the Virtual Boy thing there. No, they didn't have Virtual Boy. That wasn't there yet. I'm sorry. They had all 3 of the Game Boy kiosks. They had the singular one you always see, the double one, and then they had the full Game Boy.
Yeah, I like that one.
Which you almost never see. They had all 3 of them there.
That's usually at LIRG.
They had the full. You see the pictures that come through?
They are now.
They had the full retail setup where it's like, oh, new releases, where they have all the Super Nintendo and Game Boy games in the shelf there. That amazing. They told me it was Andy. It was mostly all of Andy's stuff. He told me people were coming in and crying. They were breaking down in tears because it's set up. See, I didn't have this.
Right.
I had Toys R Us, which they did their own thing. They did not have all this World Nintendo stuff in my Toys R Us.
It's only sending me some of these, but yeah, okay. I'm looking.
Right, you gotta get a better thing there. My
It's an iPhone 14.
KB Toy Store wouldn't have the room for these.
Right.
And Kitty City did not do this. And by '93, Kitty City was on its way out.
I had that sign.
Which one? What sign, Ian?
I had
The triple,
yeah,
all 3 consoles?
Triple. Yeah, I had the triple.
Now it's probably worth like $3,000. All these signs are worth a ton right now.
Yep. Got rid of them before I should have.
So
That Game Boy one's awesome.
So you see all the 3-4 pictures. So they had an M82 set up, not with the full stand, but it was in. You could have bought a display with and put it in there.
Yeah, this looks great.
He said to me, "I saw my monitor there, that same Magnavox mid 80s monitor with the front that my father threw out." And I said, "Why do you have that?" He said, "There's pictures online where they actually are using that monitor on top of the M82 and in displays. It's almost like coincidence."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I said, "Why are you using that monitor?" Like, I have that monitor, but it has composite out, and so they were running on that a Legend of Zelda commercial because Andy had the Legend of Zelda sword from the NES commercial.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Full size, like a prop master must have made it. It was heavy. Not sure, but it was like this long.
That's awesome.
So it was I mean, I wish I grew up with this in a department store because I would have broke down in tears. He said people were crying.
Yeah.
Because it was like a nostalgia rush, like you're like back in time. Like
No,
that.
it looks great.
So that was incredible. That's why stuff like Midwest Gaming, they have people from the community come out and set up this stuff like that. And,
I love when people set stuff up. I remember when Stefan set up the... Stefan did a setup once of the Nintendo Counselor's Corner of how the office would look. And like, I love stuff like that takes you back to an era. It feels less cheap.
In case you didn't see it, there's the monitor on the
I
right,
saw.
on the right there. And then there's the M82 set up there with the TV. I think he said that the TVs used were usually either standard ones or, like I said, they use that CRT monitor. This is the other thing I learned. I saw this little stand on my monitor. I'm like, there's a standing monitor. He says, oh yeah, they all have stands. For 40 fucking years, I did not know my monitor has a stand. I came home and checked. There's a stand underneath that never knew that. Thank you, Andy, for
hilarious.
telling me about his stand-up. That would have been good to know. As a kid set up my NES in 87, 88, that would have been great to know. I had no clue. Isn't that hysterical? And I had the manual somewhere too. I never saw that. So that was amazing. And then now this is going to be a slideshow. This is something I saw that's basically one of a kind. And it's from I forget your name. I meet you at these conventions like SoCal. He's like one of the hardcore TurboGrafx fans. He's the guy that will like say he'll have all the weird shit like the neon bag you could order. He'll have weird shit like I do, like the Bloody Wolf bandana, all the weird promo shit.
Yeah.
And he had this that was only at a single CES. I believe he said it was CES 91 or 92. I just sent it to you. It is a Bonk's Adventure arcade game that was made for CES, but it's a different game.
Oh,
It's a 2-player Bonk game.
interesting.
You can stage select. I think you can stage select, and it's like a score attack thing to get tickets. There's a ticket dispenser on the front.
So kind of, I mean, it being Hudson, so basically like a caravan, basically like a Bonk caravan.
What do you mean by caravan?
Caravan modes are all the Hudson
Like
used to
Rekka?
tour. They used to tour every year. It was a different shooter.
Okay.
And it would all be time attack modes.
Okay.
So like Rekka, Azadik, Nexer, all of those. So this
Okay.
to me sounds like basically they took the same concept and did it with Bonk, which is cool.
So this was, even though the cabinet's not 2 joysticks, it was 2 players simultaneous. I think the round was dumped years ago. He told me, and there's a ticket dispenser on the right that I guess at the CES, if you got the high score tickets, you turn them in for some merchandise.
Right.
At the time, so it works fine.
That's neat.
I played it for a few minutes. I think he said he's gonna get the ticket thing. The person before I disabled. So this is basically one of a kind.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Maybe there's another one out there someone had, but it's in pretty good shape. You can always touch up, it's scratched on the side of Bonk. Stuff like that he had. And he actually had also something I'd never seen before. They sold it basically a Play Choice 10 style kit, but for TurboGrafx.
Oh.
He had the marquee, he had the board, and on the board was almost like they put a fucking PC Engine on there. It was like the same sort of shape. And like there was a controller port. It went from the regular controller to split it out to all the basically JAMA stuff, I guess, on the front.
A wiring harness.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you can see there was originally a controller port with a controller, the
Yeah.
black one there. So like it was basically they threw a PC Engine here and then mocked it up a board around it. So it's like that. I never saw that in my fucking life.
That's really cool.
Like who would have ordered that?
Yeah.
Because no one knew about the TurboGrafx 16 to begin with. Who would have had that and converted a machine? So you learn something like that every day. So the vendor area was really nice. I am buying less things. I almost bought one Sega Master System thing. I did not. However, this I saw on the preview night Friday, and it's big and it requires shipping. And I almost pulled the trigger. And this is the thing that it'll be hard for me to see again in person. And this is also the thing that Ian might attack me for. When I show him, I did not get it. Let's see right here, Ian. I don't want to tell the audience before it's sent. I just sent it. I didn't get a picture of the inside of it. I should have.
Waiting.
Jesus, Ian, what do you got there?
Waiting. There it is. I've seen those before.
You
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really cool.
So it was 1986, and I actually guessed the year.
Because it's got a board game on the back of it, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like a double thing.
It's a Mahjong adjacent tile game put out by Bandai using all Nintendo characters, including like early, like almost like the Bowser looks weird. It has the Ice Climber duo, Donkey Kong Jr., Stanley from Donkey Kong 3, and a heavy, thick board. That's like a thick, like plastic or wood on the side. It was like all wrapped up. It had a separate case, Ian, to put all the tokens in and all the pieces. And he said it had everything. And the thing was big. The thing was like this big.
Yeah,
So there's no way I could have got it home without damaging it in my luggage. And so I said to myself, okay, this is cool. Ian will love me if I get this. He'll beg for it. But I'll have nowhere to display that, and I'll never probably learn how to play it.
It's cool.
Yes.
But I think I mentioned it when I was in Japan. A good friend of mine, Kevin, gave me a set of 1974 Nintendo Mahjong tiles, so I'm pretty much good. I've got the Nintendo Mahjong that I need.
But that's actually
really cool.
That's actually like the Famicom era characters, and designs.
No,
but that's
neat.
not.
But it's interesting too because it looks like Mahjong.
It's not though. There's
but
dice
the hands. Well, no, Mahjong has dice.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, this is a Mahjong setup, but that's not nearly enough tiles for a hand. So I'm very confused.
What are the red discs in front of the tiles?
Like I said, it does look kind of like it's a different.
Is this more like a strategy game?
No, I mean this is Mahjong. I mean, but yeah, I'm not sure if there's like a kids version of Mahjong that uses less tiles. And teaches different hands, but that does look like a proper Mahjong setup.
Unless there's two different setups with the two different.
Well, there is. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a board flip. Like I've said, I've seen this before. So you can flip the board over
and play something else.
Play one game, or you can flip it over. And I think that's got to be close to standard Mahjong.
Okay, so maybe the second game's like a strategy or something.
Yeah, the second one I couldn't tell you.
Obviously, I'm not a Mahjong guy, but the artwork on the tiles is great.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Love it.
Like I said, it's all these weird. Like you look at Bowser on there. That's like not Bowser. That's like not even the Bowser in the NES manual. That's like a weird Japanese Famicom Bowser. So that was the most interesting thing I saw. That I was like, okay, that I could see myself buying. I'd have to have it shipped. The nice dealer was willing to ship it. They ended up buying an N64, but for me, it would have been part of a trade. I was like, but I didn't pull the trigger, and it was gone by like Saturday noon. I was like, okay, it's fine. It went to a good home. I probably was. Ian said you've seen it before. I looked on eBay. I didn't find one, so maybe it's uncommon, or maybe it's easier to find in Japan.
I think that same person actually who gave me the Nintendo Mahjong tiles was doing. This would have been years ago. Had a couple of like early like 80s Nintendo things like this, and I think that was one of them.
Then someone came up to me and said, I have a bunch of Bandai promo stuff, like ads that never ran and things like that.
Oh, that's neat.
And guess what one of them was? Stadium Events.
Oh.
He and I took a picture of it. It's not scanned online yet, so this is a world premiere here. I'm not stealing their thunder, but this is an unrun Nintendo Fun Club ad for Stadium Events, and it's copyrighted 88. Which is, again, in the fucking laundry list of things to blow out it's a test market game bullshit. So let's send it here. So not the best. There was a lot of shadow. I'm holding it in my hand. But basically, the big takeaway is that, first of all, they were headquartered in Allendale, New Jersey, Bandai America, so that's cool. Jersey!
Yep, there it is.
Improve your athletic ability while setting new records and for competitive track and field events. So they did the same sort of photo shoot for this, and with the woman or like a teenage girl for previous Fun Club to promote Athletic World and the mat, and it said like Stadium is coming soon. So I guess like they never got to this point where they said, okay, we should put. And at that point, they're probably like, we're not going to sell it anyway. Why advertise it? But it says copyright 88. And then there's other interesting info, like each player scores compared to a 100-point scale based on the 82 Guinness Book of Records. So like that, I did not know that. I don't know if that's in the manual that they reference the Guinness Book. No idea. Two different modes, same thing. But yeah, to be used exclusively with the control mat. So you never know who comes up to you in these at these events. Like random shit like that happens. Like, I never saw that before. Of course, you got this sweatshirt that I tweeted out from a gentleman. That you'll get a kick out of this. A couple more in the story time here. This is an individual that came up to me. I just sent it with a custom-made sweatshirt that says, "So you get nothing, you lose. Good day, sir." And it's good old Tommy Tallarico as good old Willy Wonka there, since he's a Willy Wonka fan.
Oh, boy.
So that's a good one. I met Cobra Commander, a great Cobra Commander cosplay. I won't send you that, but I will send you a nice picture of me and Tim Kitzrow, the voice of NBA Jam. The first day he was not next to me in my area. The second day he was, and I'd seen Tim. I don't know if I was intimidated or just said I don't want to bother the guy.
Yeah, he's at a bunch of conventions. I've never spoken to him.
I just never. But now I'm forced to. He's next to me. I want to say hi.
Yeah.
Tim is salt of the earth. I mean, like the type of people that you want to surround yourself with when you're around people that you think like, oh, this is a really good person.
Right.
Like good energy. I sort of had those feelers. Like this is a really honest, good person. Was always on like commentary with just like having fun. going back and forth, doing all the sayings on. He has like one of those party mics that have like a little built-in external speaker. I sent it to you, and we talked up. I forgot to ask him about the Michael Jordan version NBA Jam. That's one thing I forgot to ask him. But we talked up some stuff there. I just sent it over. Great guy. I'm not throwing you the bus. Actually, this is a compliment. He's a lot older than what I thought. It's probably public. I go, what are you, like 56 years old? 50? So I'm 66. I said, you have less gray hairs than I do. You look amazing for 66. He said, oh yeah, I only started getting grays a few years ago. It made me feel awful. Thanks, Tim. I said to him, that's good living. So yeah, amazing being next to him as a booth mate there. And I'm sure I'll see him at, usually goes to PRG every year. I'll probably see him there. I'm not sure if you're going yet, but yeah, it was great. And then I we exchanged numbers, which is weird. Like, I shouldn't be exchanging numbers with someone that was like the voice of like my early teenage years. Like, that's so weird like that. And yeah, we need a new NBA Jam. It's been over 10 years. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing? Just put out a Sprite version like the original. Just update the roster every year, and people would buy it. I'm surprised they don't do ROM hacks like that. Like,
they do.
They don't hack the arcade version. They hack like the shitty Super Nintendo one.
Actually, I don't know if there's arcade hacks. I don't know. I'd have to look. But I think you're right. I think it's just like the Super Genesis.
But I think on the Super, though, they managed to actually change the heads to look closer. Because on the Super, they all looked almost exactly like they all looked the same. There was like 3 different head types.
Right.
There was like white, black, and then black with goggles. Like, that was the only types on the Super Nintendo. They might have changed hair color on the white characters. I forget.
We need a 2-on-2 Fire Pro basketball is what we need.
Fire Pro basketball. Yeah. So, had a great time Midwest. Saturday night was the after party. It was fun. I was there for 2 hours playing. We did. I brought my flash cart. We played like Double Dragon, a Bubble Death Match. Blades of Steel, that was a fun one. It harkened back to me facing with ice hockey. They swapped out, people were watching us. They swapped out 3 players. I won, I think it was 20-6 at Blades of Steel. It was a fun time. And I did a Contra, not a no death run. I think I died like 5 times. I was 2-player Contra with one of the attendees there. So it was a great time.
Nice.
It's just a shame that my DoorDash sucked. Real quick, DoorDash was on Thursday night. I get there. I'm super tired. I order Greek food. I'm staying at the Hilton, historic Hilton, 100-year-old building, beautiful. They said they delivered it. They literally probably just drove by and said they delivered it, which happened only one time ever, where someone said they delivered something they did not. So I was like, oh, okay. So I basically went in the app and I said I did not get it. They refunded my money. Now I got to order it again. So when I ordered again, I said, I want like a 2-liter Coke. So you do the double dash where you add on. Which is a different person. So that food came fine. I had to give him a code to make sure I wasn't lying to release the funds. But then the dasher will just say they were younger, and they didn't know where the hotel was, even though it's a big hotel. They called me up and said, "Where are you at?" on the phone. I said, "Well, I'm in the hotel lobby. It's the Hilton, and it's on, I think it's this street." And then a couple minutes went by and said, "We can't find you. Come outside." Like, it was like not nice. And so I go, okay. I walk out there. It's like 3 teenagers basically, or maybe early 20s, in the middle of the street, and it's fucking cold. I don't have a jacket on, and I have my freaking iPad under my arm. And they said, hey, come get your stuff. And I walk out. And then they were nice when I got to the young lady was nice. It was like, oh, the bag ripped. I was like, oh, okay, this is getting better because I'm like managing an iPad under my arm that's worth $800. And then so I got like cookies from 7-Eleven and like a Coke Zero, like 2-liter. I was like, okay, this is not a great start. So that was fine. But then I get to Ian when I came back home. Great trip, great flight until I came back to San Diego, which the flight was delayed by about an hour. So I'm getting back now past around midnight. I'm getting back. First, and people were, I think, tired and cranky. And the one thing happened that I always wanted to say, it happened about 10 rows up. I was in the second to last row. 10 rows up, someone got up before they were supposed to, which is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world, because they think they're better than you. And they get up, they went 2 rows forward. They're not going to get out that much sooner. You're gonna save a fucking minute of your time. someone said behind them, about 3 rows back, "Hey, you think you can wait for the other people to go first, huh?" Like loud, so everyone can hear it. And they got into an argument for like 3 minutes. I was like, and I started smiling. I was like, "This is exactly what I always wanted to do. This is exactly what I always wanted to say to someone."
Reminds me of that time I got into an argument with someone on the plane heading out to, I think it was Too Many Games. Just sometimes you gotta say something when people are being fucking assholes.
One time someone said something to me when I had to rush off the plane to make a connection. That was 15 minutes. So I actually turned back and said, I got a connection. They're letting me off early.
Right.
Because like, I'm going to miss the plane.
Yeah, that's a little different.
But this was like, we're all late. You're saving it 2 minutes. So then I get off the plane and I'm like the last one. And we were only like, in terms of distance, maybe 200 feet from where our plane was to the baggage claim. It's like, like how you go up the escalator, the escalator, there's like one terminal, like one gate. That's where we got dropped off. The shortest possible distance for the bags to get from the plane. I'm not even kidding. In San Diego, from the bags to the baggage claim area. I show up. Most of them are out. More coming. There's like maybe 30 people left. And then nothing. The lady comes out, takes the bags that aren't claimed. It's me and this other woman there, a younger woman, like in her mid to late 20s. I'm like, this is my life. This is bound to happen to me. Where it's already like, it's like almost midnight. I'm tired as hell. It was like an 8-hour travel time, no direct flights. So I walk to the American, my history of the podcast, me and customer service is not great. And I try to be patient. And I was patient at the start here. I walked to the customer service with 2 ladies there. And I go, "Hey, yeah, my bags aren't here. Claim ticket. Here's the ticket." And then another woman was there too. And she said, "Yeah, they're not here either. So, okay, this isn't a problem with just me." They found hers fairly quickly. Hers showed up.
Okay.
So I said, it's scanned that it arrived. You can track it on the app. So I'm just curious. So I say to her, she called down. They don't know what's happening yet. I said, "Is this something that," I basically asked her, like in general, "is this something that typically happens?" Like, and she says, "Oh, I don't know, sir. That's why I'm calling them." And I'm like, I feel like saying, I know you don't specifically know. Is this like a typical thing that happens? And then she said something like, "Oh, they're saying it might be stuck or something," or like she wasn't giving me an answer. I ran back to this, and it was like baggage carousel 6, which was far away. I ran like this, like 200 yards almost, or 100 yards. Ran back, don't see it. I come back. I'm trying to stay patient. It was a full like 20 to 25 minutes. I got no answers. I figured, like, did they crush my luggage? It's not lost. It's here. And finally, oh, it's coming out. Rolls out. Looks like nothing's wrong with it. At this point, it's like around midnight or past midnight. And most of the airlines always had that guarantee, like if your bags aren't there within 15 minutes, we'll comp you miles or whatever.
Yeah.
Something. And I'm fucking tired. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this was not good customer service. I got no answers. I deserve something. So I said, really nice. I was trying to be nice. I said, "Hey, do you think I could get some form of compensation or mileage for my hassle?" And I said this, I was super tired for this. She said, "Oh, you're gonna have to call. You have to call someone. You have to call the customer service." I said, "Okay. Do you think you can do me a favor? Can you give me the number? You can Google it." And that's when I semi-snapped. I said, Google. And I walked away. I was trying to be calm. I turned around, and the second lady was apologetic. She's like, "I'm so sorry." This lady didn't give a shit. She didn't care. I walked with her. I said, as sarcastically as I possibly could, "Great customer service." And almost that amount of volume. I was fucking done. I was fucking done. I still have to get the customer service number and call for that. And that was my night. Coming back. Whew. So there you go. You can Google it. Are you fucking serious, American Airlines? I was always going to do that thing like, "Do you know who I am on my Twitter account?" But I'm not going to do that. So that was my recap there. There was a cat spanking game at GDC.
Yep.
I just think, I don't follow GDC, but this was a fun time. There's a fluffy cat ass that you pounded for points.
Yeah.
With your hand. You pound it with your hands, I should say.
It's supposed to be cat petting, but if you look at the video, it looks more like cat spanking. And there's a cat on the left that is loving it, and a cat on the right that one guy doesn't look like he's playing the game properly. I don't know. The one cat does not. Seems to be getting more surprised. Either way,
there's one cat hitting the anus on that. The one guy's hitting the butthole on the cat.
Either way, it's a brief moment of joy in a very dark, awful world. And
was there any other GDC stuff you saw that was interesting? Or not? This was it.
No, I did not pay attention to a lot of it, but this is cool, and this is why I love indie games. And I've always wanted to go to GDC for this reason, but it's for game developers, and it's usually extremely expensive to go, so I've never gone.
It's called How to Pet Your Cat.
Yep.
If they came out with a fluffy ass control, I think this would actually sell well.
Oh yeah,
like a $40 game with a little fuzzy controller that you can just tap like that.
Add some depth to it. But
add some depth.
Find a little depth, but yeah, that would be
a story mode.
Yeah.
To How to Pet Your Cat.
That would be a lot of fun. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Japanese devs say normal people don't care about Assassin's Creed controversy, and they don't.
It seems like that died out when they realized that.
Oh God, it's Hideki Kamiya. Okay, yeah, that's.
Oh, you didn't read the article? You gotta read my prep, Ian, my show prep.
I heard of this. I saw the conversation when it was floating around. I didn't know it was Kamiya. Kamiya is generally considered very outspoken. He works on I believe Tekken, and he was definitely he did a lot of work with Platinum Games. He's been with Bandai Namco for a long time, and yeah, I mean he's just stating what everyone else states.
Yeah, well, once they realize that the sales are actually pretty good on this, that like the complaints don't mean the minority of people online that give a shit about some of this stuff. The complaints don't matter. People just want to play a fun game.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
It may seem like the majority because that's what the fucking algorithm is pushing into your feed, but normal people do not give a single solitary fuck about this.
Sure. Yeah. The only one thing that I thought was interesting was when I read about that. I think someone in Japan in the government responded to is that you can destroy Japanese shrines. It's like, that's interesting. Like, if there are religious things that you can destroy in the game, then that actually could be something that is like, is that right to do, in a game? Like a representation of a religion or whatever. That was when I was like, but most of the people, obviously, that wasn't what they were focusing on. But I thought that was interesting. That aspect. Like, is that proper to put in a game that you
Grand Theft Auto exists. There's no...
Sure, but you're not massacring inside a Catholic church, or a synagogue. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like, but that's it comes down to what the creator wants to do in their game. I'm not an Assassin's Creed person. I never got the concept of the whole series. So there you go.
Neither am I, but a lot of people who aren't say that the game, who also have not been, have said this game is great. I've just never personally been interested. It's not really my type of game.
No. Like, what do you, it was like, it's people that their memories get implanted in their brain, and then they go off and they pretend they're fucking people. Like,
that's just a weird setup. I mean,
that's a weird sci-fi setup, right?
Once you get into the game, that sci-fi setup, my understanding, kind of just fades.
But that could even explain some of the people's complaints about it being too woke. It's like, well, it's not reality you're playing in these games. You're playing like a version of reality. That's because you're reliving it through people's fucking heads or whatever.
People just need to fucking shut up.
This is how I judge whether or not something is quote unquote normal or not. Could I bring this up to a stranger at a setting where, like, I'm at a restaurant, I'm on a date, I'm playing poker with like poker buddies? Would they look at me like I'm fucking crazy complaining about this stuff?
Yep.
That's the litmus test for you out there. If you struggle with these things, whether or not it matters in like reality or not, is like, if I'm talking to like people, at an event, or like, will they look at me like I'm fucking crazy? That's what it comes down to. So you're not crazy if you visit ultimatenintendo.com. Ultimatenintendo.com, Ian. You can get certain guidebooks. You can get RBI baseball stickers. I sold out of them by Saturday afternoon at Midwest Gaming Classic. People love the RBI baseball stickers. They're legendary. The pins, we sold some pins in sticker packs. All at ultimatenintendo.com. Ian's on Twitch on Thursday, spinning the classics.
Yeah, I'm on Twitch on Thursdays, and you can also check me out at mixcloud.com.
Oh, what?
I think it's /PXLSICLE. I've got 2 mixes up there now, and we'll be uploading another one after my stream on Thursday. So,
you didn't tell me you're uploading mixes?
I just started to about 2 weeks ago.
He doesn't tell me anything about his personal life.
It was 2 weeks ago.
And then when do I stream, Ian?
You stream Wednesdays
Where?
at twitch.tv/Country Code.
He got it. He got it.
I know my shit.
Remember that time he didn't know the Patreon for 3 years?
Yeah, I kind of played that up a little bit.
A little.
It was a little bit.
A little bit.
Also, I would quickly point out that Yoko Kids Volume 2 is out, 110 pages, 24 games, doodles, fan fiction, reviews.
Did I buy one? I forget. I got to buy one.
And it is in my hands. It is shipping now. You can go to yokoakids.com and purchase one from the shop link at the top. All the profit goes to charity. It's helping out an LGBTQ youth center in Austin, Texas that needs some help. So please order one, support it, enjoy some reading. They're well-made books.
Cartoons. There's little articles here. Tetris Plus here. I saw a Kirby thing. Kirby's Block Ball here. I like little cartoons. All right, there you go, Ian.
So, yep. All right.
Speaking of books, I did sell something that has never been public for sale. One more to Ian. He knows there's a third cover to the N64 book, and it's not for sale publicly, but I sold it at Midwest some copies. It's only to friends and people that worked on the book so far, but I'm going to message to Ian so he can be jealous.
Pretty sure I've seen it.
Yeah, and there's one sitting on the chair over there. So I have to clean up the room. Those were gone fairly quickly. I think I only brought 12 of them.
I'm almost certain that you showed this to me a few times, but
so I didn't want to put that in Kickstarter. So if people clamor for it, I do have some more copies I can put online. But those were super limited.
Yeah, you showed this to me.
Yes,
yeah, great. It's a great cover.
That's the version that might have been the cease and desist version from Nintendo. So I did not put that one during the Kickstarter for sale.
It's very good looking.
Thank you, Ian. So am I. So are you. Speaking of good looking people on Pawn Stars, who's on the thumbnail, they uploaded. In the past couple weeks, I always get these sent by like 10 different people. It happens with my super short hair. The Super Rare Finds was a compilation video uploaded to the Pawn Stars channel. They re-upload everything. It's great. It's great because they can just recut segments. Mm-hmm. This is called Rick's Best Holy Grails. So like the most valuable coin in the world, a championship ring, a guitar that's worth a lot, a Care Bear prototype, and then there's like a Hot Wheels that's like one of the original ones with a surfboard in the back that's worth a ton of money, like 6 figures, and then a plucky collector trying to sell their gold and gray NWC card shows up during this, and I'm on the fucking thumbnail, which I think is funny. So there you go. I think I left a comment. You should have bought those games. That would have been a great investment.
Yep.
The person brought on their Beach Bomb Hot Wheels. They wanted like 150 or whatever. They sold it for 175. So there you go. That was more recent. My episode was already 13 years ago. Holy shit.
Wow.
Pre-podcast era. He just looked at me. Pixel Game Squad said, when you see Pat the NES Punk in the thumbnail, that's right. That's right. And so just a small thing. Super Sega is now a Mr. FPGA.
Yeah, this is fun. If you weren't aware, we've been covering the Super Sega saga. And
Super Sega saga.
And he says, basically, so we've talked about it, and it was going to be this magic all-in-one system with different cartridge
physical media, cartridges that load up, a disc tray. That never worked. None of it worked.
So apparently Sega threatened legal action, and he said that he refunded the pre-order pledges, and there doesn't seem to be any evidence of that. This article on Time Extension says that he claimed to sell his beloved sports car to cover the refunds, but then withdrew the vehicle from sale and has actually appeared alongside it.
You mean the Lamborghini he didn't know how to drive? That he didn't know how to stop?
And the long and the short of it is now it's just going to be a Mister with his branding on it.
Wow.
Which is not going to move anyone's emotions or hearts. And I have to be honest, though, we are kind of at this point in time where these sorts of consoles don't need to be made. They don't. We have kind of hit what we've kind of hit the. I mean, once you get to the Mister and things like that, the Analog Pocket and Open FPGA, once you can just load a system onto a console and then play it. What do we need these specialized consoles for?
Or all the conversions to get a real Saturn, you'll just load on the little drive.
Yeah, which is why I said before, but I think the Pocket is going forward going to be Analog's flagship item because they really don't need to make standalone systems anymore.
Or they can maybe come out with a standalone like pocket console sort of thing that incorporates a larger ecosystem, at some point too. If they wanted to, that's not their strategy.
I mean, that would be a cost-cutting measure, I think, and I don't think they're. This is not meant to sound as mean as it sounds. I don't think they're particularly interested in cutting costs. I think selling the pocket with a dock makes the most sense for them.
Well, but you can combine the two forms is what I'm saying. You can have a dock that has it all built in one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Sure.
I was just saying it's another SKU they could do. I'm not saying they're going to do it.
Right.
By the way, they pushed back, I think it's July is now the release date for the Analog 3D.
When was it supposed to come out?
I think it was supposed to be May or so.
I mean,
Did you order one? I
okay.
forget.
No.
I ordered the white one.
No, if we get a demo one, it'd be neat to test it out, but it's just not something that I would ever use.
Yeah, they usually hook us up with a demo. We either one or both of us end up buying it anyway.
Yeah,
because they're great products. So that's how it ends up working.
Right.
So that's fun. So and then what else is going on? The Hyperkin Retron GX TurboGrafx clone. I had no idea this existed. Metal Jesus, our pal, did a review of this. That was
We knew it existed. I thought. I thought we talked about it before.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe not.
So here's the thing. It's a cheap Retron device. So you know what you're going to get.
It is.
I actually used a Retron NES HD at the convention. It was actually decent, except the colors were off. But this is a TurboGrafx, so maybe the emulation they're using isn't as good. But in the video, Metal Jesus, basically, the big findings were this. The colors are off by a significant amount on the games here and there. The scrolling is terrible. It's stuttery.
Yep.
On the background, the foregrounds, you showed like Super Adventure Island. It was like unplayable. The way I was, a Ninja Spirit was like, oh, that would be distracting.
Yeah, Ninja Spirit looks bad.
And the worst part is that like when you hit a button on the sound effect, there's delay.
And that to me is the killer.
Like I want to say, I do the pat math. We'll say like between a 10th and like a 15th of a second, but definitely noticeable. Like there's a delay hitting the attack button here in the attack. That's not good.
No.
That's no bueno. But it's like an $80 or $90 console with the controller that looks decent. The controller looks like a standard.
It's a shit controller. I've actually used.
Oh, you've used that one?
Yeah, they released those controllers way before they did this console.
Oh, they did. Okay.
And we got one in at Luna, and Treg was like, "Do you want to take this home, test it? Let me know if we should get any in." And they were fucking dog shit. Like,
okay.
They were garbage.
To their credit, the NES one I used was actually pretty decent, and I actually liked the fact
that was a Retron.
Yes. With the corners are angled, so it doesn't hurt your hands when you.
I mean, I've always said that those Retrons are fine for what they do. I mean, we're at the point where the NES stuff is, well enough emulated system on a chip wise to make that okay.
Like I said, the colors were off on it. Otherwise, I couldn't
Right.
notice. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary playing like a handful of games on it.
I would not be surprised if the colors were off, but that could also just be the fucking TV too. You never know.
It's called the Cadet, the Hyperkin Cadet controller. The two angles in the bottom, they're angled down. So
we used to get those all the time.
They don't dig into your hand. So I had no problem with that controller. Like, so basically what
people liked those at Luna.
The takeaway is this on this TurboGrafx thing. When it's this cheap and it uses real media, I don't know who it's for.
Nope.
If you're a hardcore Turbo fan, we already had a modded PC engine, like a Duo R, like you have, or you have the Analog Duo. Why would you go for the cheapest option if you're and you're only an enthusiast? There's no like casual TurboGrafx fan that has a couple of games really. You know, like you're an enthusiast. You have to be an enthusiast because you don't know about these games and they're expensive.
I always say the Retron is fine. I always said that the Retrons were fine for the Super Mario 3 crowd. People who want to buy Super Mario 3, Zelda, something else, and get their fix. It is. They're perfectly okay for that. There is no person who casually wants to pick up a Turbo for 2 or 3 games.
Yes.
And with the price being $90, in the output being so poor, just either buy the standard TurboGrafx for what, the $150 it's probably going to cost now. 160
for a TurboGrafx original console.
Yeah,
probably a bit more than that, but we'll say 200.
Okay, so 200.
We'll say,
or this is one of those things where like the hardware is better argument falls apart. You can have a better experience doing this on RetroArch. Just emulate at that point.
And plus, this doesn't take at least from the start. There's no EverDrive support, so you can't go that route.
Yeah, I mean it's garbage. EverDrive really shit the bed when they started leaving the basic, not EverDrive. Hyperkin really shit the bed when they left the standard NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis era. Their Atari clone fucking sucked.
The little cute little guy.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Or the Game Boy one.
I thought that. Yeah, I thought those were cute, but I mean,
they don't play well.
They're shit. The fucking compatibility on the Atari one is like,
is it bad?
Fucking 60%. Yeah, it's awful.
Okay, the same issues that the Atari release had, the 2600 Plus had.
So I know it's not popular to say, but like, you know, a Retron Duo, if you're just kind of going down memory lane, it's totally fine. But I would not buy their more niche products.
Gotcha. Real quick, the Carl Jobst versus Billy Mitchell lawsuit verdict came in, and I was someone that commented on the case and followed it on perfectpacman.com and read through most of it. I was surprised that Carl lost, but not shocked. But I was shocked at the amount of the lawsuit that the judge gave to the Billy. It was $300,000. It was $300,000 non-monetary damage and $50,000 aggravated. This is in Australian dollars, which is like our dollar's worth about 70% or so. So plus have to pay the lawyer fees and all that. So you're looking at several $100,000 Australian, plus there's like $40,000 in interest. So there you go. So all I'm gonna say is this: I thought it was strange that the trial was not public, but when I saw that they decided to make the verdict public and stream it, I thought that was a very strange thing to see. Why is it in the public's interest to not have the trial live, but to have the verdict live? That was very strange. And then it was a 45-minute sort of performance by the judge, in my opinion, that was not totally objective and wanted to humiliate Carl through how he put together the verdict, the things he said. There were some Shakespearean things that he said that, for example, the one that pointed out to me that was interesting, he said something like, it was something like, Carl looked to slay the Billy Mitchell dragon, but his lance, Ian, was not sharp enough. And once I heard something like that, I'm like, I don't know what this judge is going for here. But this is all things that if I was a lawyer, I'd say, I think I can appeal this, because the judge is going out of their way to really show that they're not being objective on this. So I think, in my opinion, this is going to be something that is going to be a long thing of appeals for both the judgment and for the amount. We'll see what happens. I'm sure Carl's going to do a video about it at some point. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
Game Informer is back.
We had a feeling this is going to happen. This was like the logical thing for it to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that it's back. I know some people were concerned about the people who own it now, but not I'm not saying like the editors or the people who are running it, the people who are basically funding it.
Wait, who's funding it? I didn't read that part.
I don't know. It was something that I have to look into.
Gunzilla Games?
Yes.
Okay, I got to Google that.
Same here. However, without knowing anything about that, without having looked into it, I think it's good that a print media is coming back. I think it's good that the same editor-in-chief is there, and I hope that they're going to get most of those people hired back. I think it's always a good thing to have print media, and we are going to have to kind of see how it turns out.
People also ask on Google, who are the Gunzilla Games? The Gunzilla Games. It's a publisher that's been around since 2020 only? Okay. Neil Blomkamp? Not the director?
Yeah, it is.
Part
That's
of it?
what it was. Yeah, it's his like game studio. I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but
I didn't know he's gotten into games. There's some Russian names in here. Is it a Russian company? Dmitry, Vladimir, Vlad. Okay, I got to see what games they've done. But so they're the ones that are funding this.
I believe so.
Okay, that gives me slight pause.
Yes,
just that I don't know anything about them, or the fact that they could pull the plug as well.
Yeah,
if it's not so they went in and purchased the rights from GameStop. Then, if I follow this,
I believe.
Okay.
Basically, my whole thing here is I think it's at the base level a good thing. We just got to see how it goes.
This is in the article from the editor from Matt Miller, who also wrote the goodbye that GameStop then tried to hide because they're soulless assholes.
Yep.
Game Informer now operates under an entity called Game Informer Inc., and our intent is to continue to focus on highlighting the coolest games, celebrating the history and legacy of the gaming industry, and shining a spotlight on the creators and players who are charting its future. I am deeply grateful for the trust and enthusiasm from the team at Gunzilla Games. They see the same potential in Game Informer as our team does, and their encouragement to do so ethically and free of outside pressure is laudable. Okay. I guess we'll hold Gunzilla to that. They're not going to pressure them to like give favorable coverage to a game that they happen to publish. Hey, we own a magazine. Can you please push our game? Okay. They felt as strongly as our team did. The only path forward was with an editorial group that was 100%, that made 100% of the decisions around what we cover and how we do so, without any influence from them or anyone else. Okay. You hope that's going to be true going forward, but they had to pay money for the rights for this.
Yep. It's not just it's not just benevolence.
Every acquisition in the history of the world like this is not done just because you're nice and you like it. You have to make a return on your investment. This goes back to everything we've talked about in the past with other companies especially acquiring companies of people that we know and like. And it's like, okay, for now it's fine. We'll hopefully it doesn't go bad at some point. There's multiple companies we can say that we know that it's happened of people we know. But we'll see. So if you're into the magazines before, here's your chance. Put your money where your mouth is. Buy the digital and/or physical version.
Yep.
Because there should be at least one of these that exists. We don't need 10 that cover new games, but hey, one, why not? There's still a couple of retro gaming ones around. There's still the one in the UK, and there's the one in the US. So there you go. So that's a positive story. The next is, I don't know if it's positive or negative or good, but a second Nintendo PlayStation prototype was unearthed, Ian.
Yes.
Also from a closet. That's where you keep all your old historic relics, in a random closet in a box.
And it was owned by someone whom it makes sense to own it. It was Ken Kutaragi. He was the PlayStation co-creator, and was big in the PlayStation, involved in the PlayStation for a long time. And it was in his closet, and someone in Japan asked about it and met up and took some pictures. The pictures show that it looks fairly similar to the one that we've seen, but I've heard there is some slight differences. I actually can't tell just by looking at it.
Definitely, I think the font is different on PlayStation, the color.
Okay.
I think.
And this one appears to be missing. Okay, so that's the one that was auctioned off. Yes, so the PlayStation is blue on Ken Kutaragi's, and it's gray on the one that was auctioned off.
Correct.
By Heritage. There may be some other differences.
That was it went for like what, $275 on Heritage? Remember, something like that.
I thought it went for $3 something.
$3 something with the buyers.
It counts. That's what people are paying for it.
It said 300,000 in this article, so it's around 300.
Okay. So there's another one. That means that there's always the possibility that there's more. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
We don't say these things to be alarmists. This is reality.
Yes.
There's always more things. There was a point on this podcast where there was like 2 new NWC carts being found every year for like 3 or 4 years. Remember that?
Yep.
They're like, oh, another storage unit has another one was unearthed here. This always happens, especially when you know to look for these things they have laying around.
And as we've said before, the amount of time that has passed is relatively small. It's not like people are out there searching
30 years.
for these.
Yeah.
It's not like people are out there hunting for them every day. They're out there. There's probably another one somewhere.
There could be. We're not guaranteeing it.
No.
But for something like a system prototype, I don't picture this as being something you would quickly junk.
Right.
This isn't like a promo item. This isn't like I have a PlayStation jacket, Ian. This is a piece of hardware that would have been historic with or without the console coming out. You would keep the prototype. Like, you can't picture Nintendo. Nintendo probably somewhere in their vault still has like those original. They have they have them on display. The original like Nintendo version that they showed at the CESs that looked like that looked different, looked like a VCR.
Yeah.
Like, you don't junk this stuff. You don't junk it.
So, yeah, I'm not saying there's a ton of these, but I just think it's easy to fall into a trap of this is the one and only of something in the world. And if one of something was made and it looks mass produced, the chances are there was probably another one made.
Oh, this wasn't mass produced.
I know, but I mean, if it looks like it was
commercial.
Manufactured.
It's a commercial.
It's a commercial manufactured item.
Yeah, like the mold was done. they didn't have 3D printers back in the mid 90s. You know, yes.
Mass produced isn't what I meant, but
A commercially made looking product.
Yes.
Like this could look like a finished actual product.
if the Sony PlayStation that was initially found was a board with a bunch of fucking bodged wires and a CD drive attached to it, then maybe it was the only one. But something that looks like this, there were clearly more than one of these.
Yes, they made an injection molding to make this.
Right.
This wasn't like they got a bunch of rulers and grinders and grinded out the plastic.
This wasn't arts and crafts time.
Yeah. They spent money. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, obviously. Who knows, $1 million developing this thing or more, probably back then developing this thing. And it's just, Nintendo made a bad decision. That's just what you can say it. Yeah. Nintendo made a industry altering decision that is very strange to look back. The same way Atari could have distributed the NES.
Yep.
And they said, no, that's okay. We'll put out this old tech. We'll put out the
7800.
We'll put the 7800 and we'll try out the 5200 again. And it's like, well, Ian likes that, but no one else does. So there you go. I just think it's funny. And then it was unearthed by Julian Domansky, professional photographer in Japan, met up with Kutaragi and shared a few photos of their hardware on social media. Then the tweet disappeared, which I thought was interesting.
Interesting enough, the link to the article's still up, but the link to the tweet is not. So I don't know if someone was like, hey, I didn't really want that out there.
Did Sony say, we want this? Or did Nintendo say, we want that? Or...
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how that works. Was he supposed to have given it back 30 years ago?
I don't think anyone's gonna. Yeah, I mean,
it's strange that it's off Twitter.
Yes,
and there's been no mention of that guy talking about it since. Yep. So